future of better music education in North America does not lie in better rehearsal plans. It does not lie in better recruitment strategies for choir and band, nor does it lie in a better curriculum. The future of better music education in North America lies in the power of informal learning experiences. Music educators need to create more space for informal learning to occur in their classrooms. For a long time, we have depended largely on formal practices as the vehicles by which we make music with our students in the school setting, but the time for change has come. I believe that composition in an informal context is a highly effective way to create space for informal learning to take place in this generation of students. Before we dig in, we must first make the distinction between the words formal and informal. We must not mistake formal for Western classical music and informal for pop music. Formal and informal refer to the context or practice in which something is done. Formal learning is what typically goes on in secondary music programs with choir and band. Rehearsals have structure, and the choir or band directors who lead the rehearsals have aims and objectives that they would like their students to meet. Informal learning occurs outside of any specific structure or objectives a teacher might set for his or her students. It is more connected with students' individual motivations and desires to learn. In an article titled How Popular Musicians Learn, A Way Ahead for Music Education by L. Green, Green states how learning can be intentional, but not teacher-directed, as well as incidental, according to Peter Mackinn's article, Learning Music in Formal, Non-Formal, and Informal Contexts. Young popular musicians largely teach themselves to play music through processes of skill and knowledge acquisition that are both conscious and unconscious. Another central practice involves learning from each other in pairs and groups through casual encounters and organized lessons, both aside from and during music making. Through such interaction, they copy and exchange ideas, knowledge, and techniques, learn to play together, including making covers, improvisations, and compositions of original music. So, what can composition in an informal context look like in today's music classroom? When trying to envision the answers to this question, there is much to take note of in an article titled Garage Rock Dance, a future model for developing musical expertise by Heidi Westerland. Westerland examines the possibilities of straying away from the apprenticeship tradition in which the master teacher knows the goals and how they should be attained. This is an example of a formal practice. An informal practice that Westerland goes on to explore involves knowledge-building communities. Westerland states, expertise is more likely to flourish in communities where students support one another in knowledge construction and where, at the same time, they develop collective expertise that can be distinguished from the expertise that individual students may have. If we can imagine a high school songwriting course that is open to any student in the school, we can expect to have some students who are proficient on an instrument and other students who have little or no experience with instruments or songwriting but have the desire to write and play and or sing. All of these students would make up the knowledge-building communities. Those students who know how to play an instrument would be able to share their knowledge with those who don't, perhaps teaching them what they know. This would be a formal practice within an informal context, actually. And for those students who come into this course not knowing how to play an instrument will surely bring other skills and insights to the table. Perhaps they like to write lyrics, or they can beatbox, or they have a good ear for melodies. Ideally, these students could work together to create something new, without a teacher standing in front of the class telling them how to hold an instrument and what a 5/7 chord is. Students would be sharing their knowledge with each other, and would also be creating in the process. The teacher would be there to provide assistance in what the students need, and would act more as a facilitator rather than a dictator. So maybe this idea of composition in an informal context may not be completely new, but I have been lucky enough to come across a model of what I believe will be the means for this to actually happen. In part 2 of this video, we will meet some amazing Westminster Choir College students who have the right idea about the future of music education.